Here we go again with top list galore. Today is all about seeing giant, just massive ships crashing into everything they can see and just tearing through it without slowing down at all. Let's just get started. Can you see it yet? If not, there's a giant ship slowly creeping up on this dock, and I mean really slowly, but they can't do anything to stop it on time. It's the slowest, most terrifying accident this guy will ever be on. He probably said, "Damn, we're fucked," while they were still like 300 meters back. The ship just kept going and going until it tapped the dock and it decided to do a magic trick and made this massive crane disappear. I thought this might have been close to shore, but maybe not, because that crane went down fast, leaving those bubbles that signify a quick death. Luckily, everybody could see the disaster coming and they were able to leave the dock. If you happen to enjoy this video, please make sure to anchor down on the like button, as it really helps me out. Also, make sure to subscribe and turn on those post notifications. You guys remember about that giant ship Concordia who crashed with the Italian captain that was drunk? Well, here we have another drunk captain crashing in Italy, Venice to be exact. Okay, so this captain wasn't drunk this time, but you can be made to easily believe that when you have such a dramatic scene like this one. That ship moved that tourist boat like it was a knife going through butter. The sound is also terrifying. We also get an angle from aboard the boat as it goes through the dock, and you can hear it crashing, but it doesn't slow it down at all, like if it wasn't there. In the end, they stated the engine locked up, and the crew tried everything to stop the ship, but it was fruitless as 5 people were injured, and you could also see one guy go into the water. I couldn't find any information on this horrific crash, but you can see the massive size that the container ships have gotten to when one crashes into another huge ship just parked at the dock. I hope that there was nobody on that boat, as the container ship just tore into it like a freaking shark biting through a freaking fish. It stood no chance as it sliced it in half. I don't think that's how they get rid of boats that they no longer want. Or wait, maybe they were trying to make the smaller boat bigger, so they sliced it in half in order to start from the middle. Man, this video is why I don't get on boats. So boats really can't maneuver at all once they get going on the water, huh? These boats are just cruising along, knowing that they are going to crash, that it's inevitable. This reminds me so much of that scene in The Simpsons, where Lisa and Bart just crash into each other on purpose. This collision happened on the Welland Canal in Canada, as the Atlantis boat was traveling along correctly, and the Bulker Florence Spirit crossed its path, and well, they took each other's noses off. Apparently, they just needed a little bit of rhinoplasty. The reason was just unsafe maneuvering by the Florence Spirit crew, as you might think there was nowhere to go in this narrow canal. But nope, it's large enough for both of them to fit, and there are procedures to follow, like passing on the starboard side. This was just a dumb accident. Imagine you're on the water in a river in your small fishing boat, minding your own business, when suddenly a giant ship appears and just comes crashing right into you. What you don't see is that there's another coal carrying ship on the other side of that boat that is pushing this ship, as they also collided as they were traveling in opposite directions. This happened in Indonesia, and although both coal ships were being tugged by tugboats, they still drifted into each other. The accident caused 4 fishing boats to sink and cost the fishermen's livelihoods. Hopefully that corporation replaced them, but knowing these stories, they probably won't. We now head to Spain. We're making a freaking trip around the world to see idiots. Nah, I'm just kidding, some of these do have legitimate reasons. This ferry is called Excellent, and it just excellently maneuvered itself right into this crane, causing it to collapse. The ferry was full at the time, but nobody was injured, and apparently it happened because of bad weather, causing the ship to abort its docking procedure. The crane then fell on some container ships that had hazardous chemicals, and then it exploded. There were no casualties, but the fire took 3 hours to put out, and now we see why there's shipping delays. Carnival cruise ships are freaking massive, and 2 of them collided as they were trying to dock at Port of Cozumel in Mexico. Carnival is the largest cruise ship company in the world, and I don't really feel bad for them since they dodge most taxes by being incorporated in other countries. When I first saw this crash, I thought that Carnival Legend on the left was ramming straight into Carnival Glory. But Glory was the one backing that thing up, trying to dock, and it took massive damage to its ass. Luckily, no one was seriously injured, but we have this amazing video. This is another massive container ship coming into dock to get loaded up with its massive load, but instead, it quickly takes out 2 cranes. Not only does this ship take out the cranes, it also sideswipes the much smaller container ship already being loaded. The most terrifying thing here is that these two cranes that went down, like dominoes, they both had their engineers on board, and they went for the craziest carnival ride of their lives. They were somehow both okay, but needed to be rescued as they were trapped by the wreckage. The ship just took a bad line into this dock in Taiwan. All the other ships were freaking ugly working ships or massive people carriers, so it didn't really hurt to see them get damaged. But this one is pretty nice. It's a nice sailing ship striking a bridge. This is a Brazilian Navy ship and it crashed in Ecuador. As you could see, there was a tugboat that was trying to keep it from crashing, but the strong currents were brutal that day, as there was also another tugboat off camera trying to pull it, and that one got pulled along and it capsized. Both crews were okay, and the ship was eventually pulled out and inspected for damage, as there had to be damage to the mast, as it looked like it was going to be pulled under that bridge. Now we have a real moron on our hands, as the captain of the Cotonou, a Tunisian ship traveling along the Mediterranean, and it crashed into an anchored Cypriot freighter. As the captain of the Tunisian ship, he was on his phone making calls and not paying attention to the radar. The container ship also got blamed because it's unusual for a ship to throw anchor in a lane used by merchant ships. Regardless, the insurance company is the one getting screwed here, as it was the same company for both ships. The cost of the damage to the ships was $15.3 million, and an extra $11.3 million to clean up the coastal waters. I would just say, maybe have somebody looking straight ahead at all times. Have you learned nothing from the Titanic? Who doesn't love seeing giant ships just crashing into anything? The scale of these ships is so large that you just want to see what they can take out. Thanks for watching this video. See you next time.
Ain't no motherfucker in this world could do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising.